Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's take a look here at ICP, see what's going on. We're going to draw some new fib levels here and kind of just see roughly what may happen here next with this coin. We're still on a descending trend. There's no other way around it. Most altcoins are recovering today, but even an 8% recovery doesn't mean we're just like back on track. So please understand that much. We do have some resistances in front of us and a few other important things to recognize. So we'll take a look at that in the backend data too and just kind of make an informed decision here today. That's the whole point, right? So if you can, do me a favor, hit the like button, comment below, and just help grow the channel, get this in front of more people. Get less moon boys the views, right? At least that's the concept or the hope, because they do have a tendency of telling you everything's going to the moon. And I'm just going to shoot you straight. That's just kind of how it is. Once again, the charts just tell us certain things, and these are just my views of how it's supposed to be interpreted. Okay, again, that's kind of how it works. Anyways, the daily time frame, we're going to look at that in a minute, but we want to recognize the last 7 days of liquidation. We talked about this previously when the price action couldn't break free from its bullish rectangle pattern. That $16 is that heavy resistance range. Okay, again, heavy resistance, not because of liquidation, but liquidation is there because it's a resistance. And it's just kind of the general consensus of how that works out. Take a look here. We see a large chunk of liquidation on the downside got swept. Dang, down as low as 1035. It'd be nice to get like a limit order down that low, wouldn't it be? Anyways, the whole point of me showing this to you is that there's still more liquidation on the downside, even as low as about $8.25. I'm not proposing we're going to see anything less than $10. Personally, I don't think that's a possibility, but the liquidation delta is still very bearish. More people are still shorting than taking longs of this coin right now. So just keep that in mind. You're kind of fighting uphill if you're trying to take a long right now, so to speak. And again, take that with a grain of salt. But the concept is that with more bears in the market than bulls, you're kind of fighting the current, if you will. Okay. Anyways, when we take a look here at open interest, we can kind of see there's a large chunk of people interested in this coin, or basically had purchased this coin at $14.35, upwards of $15. So even though some folks bought the dip here recently, there's a lot of people underwater on those longs. Okay. So daily time frame, what does that look like here for us? Well, we're still below the 20 SMA. We're tentatively rejecting out at that little resistance range. It's basically just like a trend line in a lot of ways. So we could even draw this trend line out like this here and kind of just pay attention to it, and the simple fact that it's probably likely going to be working as a resistance until we break above it. Now, that's not really something you should take away from this. It's not like we're just going to keep rejecting down or the price can't go any higher, but that's just kind of a mental awareness thing here of the fact that being under the 20 is generally an unfavorable scenario. We're also here closer to 50 on the RSI. We pivoted and bounced off that level, which is good. It shows that the bottom is likely in. Okay, that's usually a favorable sign. Money flow index is tapering off. Most coins are going to show this on the daily, because again, it takes the last 14 candles and tells us how much money is flowing in and out. And right now, it's going out based on the simple fact that we had a monumental candle 2 days ago. We all saw that. I'm sure anyone with liquidation felt the pain on that one. Thankfully, we closed our only long position in, it was in the red, of course, but we closed it out before it even triggered a stop loss, and didn't face any type of problems on that pullback, thankfully. Because again, I don't like to be too long heavy when Bitcoin starts to pull back. It doesn't make a ton of sense, especially with that kind of push to the downside. But no matter how you look at it here, everything's looking fairly favorable in the overall sense. Majority of these indicators are letting us know that while it's not great, the important stuff is here. Momentously, though, from a momentum standpoint, it's going to show that we have momentum to the downside, because we saw what is that? That was a 28% candle in 1 day from top to bottom. That is a significant pullback, folks. Okay, and it takes a little while to recover from that. So again, if you bought the dip, congratulations on that. But the question here is, do you continue to hold? Well, we had a local resistance here at about 1320. If you recall me covering that previously, that was a potential support level for us. It held for about 4 to 8 hours, and we lost it pretty hard. So we come back up to that range, we may see some resistance here. We have a fair value gap just below the current price action at about 1230. So we could see a pullback there. I'm expecting Bitcoin to retrace a little bit before it legs up again. Granted, it's probably going to continue just based on how how it does work versus how it's supposed to work, right? But the concept is that Bitcoin's overextended. It broke through its key level resistance. It's common to retest a resistance as a support before it continues higher. So if that were to happen, just know that this local area here, the low fair value gap slash fib level at about 1230 should be a retracement area for us. We take a look here. We're under 50 on the RSI in the 4 hour. This is generally an unfavorable scenario. We can see our RSI is, our stochastic RSI is swinging upwards, but not crossing that level implies that we have a resistance and we're not past our, we haven't shifted gears to like a nice bullish scenario. For example, Bitcoin has done that. If you look here, versus ICP hasn't, tells us that a lot of selling pressure in this $13 range. We can also see money flow index is increasing, but that's just kind of a normal response. We are below both moving averages that are important here on the 4 hour. The 20-day SMA tentatively holding the price action, and of course, again, that fair value gap there. So we're seeing a lot of confluence of this 1290 / just say $13 range, where we got some SMAs accumulating on both daily and 4 hour timeframes. Some fib levels there, previous resistance, turns support, turns resistance again. There's a lot of little things that are kind of factoring in here. So let's take a look at the Ichimoku cloud and confirm. While we are above the cloud, lagging spans free and clear in the conversion lines of the baseline. That's a really good, hourly indication. The macro is kind of telling us otherwise. So just be mindful here. If you're to take a long, we are in a nice little support here. If you look at our local point of control, $12 is that heavy amount of volume where we see the people have the most amount of volume. So hypothetically, the price does pull back. That would be a common pivot point. So an entry between 12 to 1250 makes sense. Just know though, this is very premature. We're barely breaking bullish on small time frames, where all the larger time frames are telling us we're not even close. So just be mindful of that. That doesn't give me a lot of confidence in taking a long. Okay, so heads up on all that. Anyways, that's kind of the lowdown there for ICP. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. It's kind of par for the course considering what just happened. So once again, I'll clean up the charts here. I'll post a playout chart here shortly on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. It does look a little something like this if you're not familiar. Feel free to join along. And then, of course, make sure you reference Bitunix too, folks. $12,000 deposit bonus this month. No KYC VPN required. They're a really good exchange. I recommend checking them out. Our community's been using them for over a year, and they've been really good to us. So thanks again. All right, folks. Have a good rest of your day. Look forward to seeing the next one. Take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.